Joining me now for an exclusive interview on Election Day is senior advisor and attorney for Donald J. Trump, Alina Habba. Alina, welcome to the program. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
A busy day for you and your campaign. The American people are voting today, as you know. They want to know this election will be fair. They want to know if this election will be peaceful. They want to know that their vote is protected. What steps are you and the Trump campaign doing to ensure that for the American people?
Well, we've filed over 130 lawsuits preliminarily to fight some of these state attorneys and make sure that we have election integrity. Today, we have a lot of poll watchers on the ground as well as attorneys. We had an issue in Pennsylvania already this morning where they weren't allowing our Republican poll watchers in. So we called the lawyers on the ground and took care of that. We are doing everything we can, but I think the point that I want to make is we can do all of that, but if they don't go out to vote and we're not too big to rig, we're going to have a problem. So that's really the key for us.
Alina, educate me here a little bit. There's a lot of talk going on this morning on social media about the United States Congress and the Senate. If there is some shenanigans here, if we do have a problem in the coming days, the coming weeks, educate me and my audience. How does the Congress and the Senate factor into that?
Well, it's important. We really can't lose a seat. When you look at it, right, and let's say we win an election. Well, that's great, but if you could have something where they can block it, right? We can't pass anything because we have one or the other, and it doesn't really matter which. So we need to maintain our seats. It's critical. It's as important as the presidency. If you have a president, but you can't pass any votes, you can't get what we need done through the House, then we have a problem. And you're effectively sitting there in a dead spin, trying to pass all these votes and change the country, but they'll block us. So when I say it's important to vote, I don't just mean it's important to vote for the President of the United States. It's important to vote to make sure that we can make some serious changes to our government, and we can make sure that we get those changes passed. That's why it's important.
You know, it's kind of a shame, Alina, and I guess you would agree with me, even though you are an attorney. I mean, it seems like on the Trump campaign side, the Republican side, you guys are all lawyered up. On Kamala's side, they're all lawyered up. This thing is really, really, really close, for sure out here in Maricopa County and in Arizona. It seems like inevitably this thing is going to come down to people like you, lawyers, and a legal battle. I mean, are you guys prepared to fight for this thing?
No, I think nobody's ever asked me that question. And I think there's a very important reason people don't ask me that question, because I think the answer is pretty obvious. If anybody's asking if I'm ready to fight and the lawyers are ready to fight, look at the last 3.5 years. I mean, I became famous from being on the courtroom steps fighting. And that's really what we're doing. We're going to keep fighting for America. We're not going to stop. There's zero reason to stop. They tried to jail him. They've had assassination attempts. The list goes on. And we have not stopped fighting for 1 minute. And there's absolutely no reason we'll stop now.
You know, last night, Alina, on network television, speaking to hundreds of thousands of people, used to be millions, maybe hundreds of thousands of people now, Bernie Sanders said Donald Trump will be declaring himself the winner no matter what happens tonight. Your response to rhetoric like that from the other side?
They always say that we're doing exactly what it is that they do. Nancy Pelosi is already talking about 25th Amendment and impeachment articles. Listen, it's called distraction. It's very simple, and they're the kings and queens of distraction. Oh, if President Trump wins, he'll never leave office. Oh, this, that, the other. These are the things that they're doing as we speak. So it's such nonsense, honestly, and I think America's tired of it. I think if you look at the polls, it's speaking volumes. People are tired of this rhetoric. They're tired of divisiveness, and they're ready for a change. As they say, we're ready to turn the page.
You know, Alina, real quick, you mentioned there was already some discrepancies, some issues coming up in the state of Pennsylvania. Yesterday, Maricopa County, they're talking about upwards of 40,000 ballots that have been damaged or weren't filled out correctly. And now there's some talk to, how are we going to open those ballots and what to do with those kind of things. When these issues come up in the swing states especially, how quickly, like what's happening inside the war room? How quickly are you jumping on this? Or do you think as more issues come out, this election for the American people could drag out weeks?
Oh, I don't think it should drag out weeks. Do I think that there might be issues? Yes, of course I do. We're seeing them already. But we're ready. And how's it going to shake out? The same way it's been shaking out for the last few months. We've been gearing up for this. We've been fighting them early, telling them to clean their voter rolls, things like that. So, look, it's going to be a fight. We're going to have to keep going. And, yeah, America deserves to know who their president is on election day, not election week. So let's see what happens, and hopefully we'll clean up and get to know who our president is the way we used to for history of before the last few years, So that's what we need to do.
Well, we're going to be broadcasting, streaming all night, streaming live the election results. Just lastly, Alina, take us kind of behind the scenes there. Will you be with the president tonight? How are you watching the results as America watches?
I will be at Mar-a-Lago with the president tonight, and then I will go to the convention center after dinner. I'm looking forward to it. It's a nerve-wracking experience. I've obviously never been this close to a campaign in my life. So as an American, it's nerve-wracking. But then, of course, being his senior advisor and an attorney for him and knowing him personally, I'm rooting for him. So I'll be with the president. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to us turning the page on the Harris-Biden regime. All
right, there she is, senior advisor and attorney for Donald J. Trump, Alina Habba. Thank you so much for coming on the program. Stay caffeinated. We'll talk to you down the road.
Thank you.